Today, we're going to talk about the law of pain. The law of pain. And here's what the law of pain says. The law of pain says, good management of bad experiences leads to great growth. Let me repeat that. Good management of bad experiences leads to great growth. See, anybody can manage good times, right? Everybody can manage good times, right? That's easy stuff. But how do you manage your bad times? Good management of bad experiences leads to great growth. Of all the laws of growth, this is probably the most painful to deal with, to think about. So let's talk about this. You know, I was at the hospital. I went to the doctor today because I'm checking on my health. I'm getting older. Those of you younger, you're gonna realize that you get older. You better take care of your health. You better take care of yourself, right? Better be careful at work. You know, I didn't realize, how powerful good health was. My mom used to tell me that being sick is for the rich. They can afford it. But I was at the doctor today. Check this out. Listen to this. And they had this little screen, and they said, find a video you want to see. And I pushed on a button that said, heart health. And the name of the little video was called Reasons to Change. And I said, wow. Caught my attention. Reasons to change. I said, oh, they're talking my language here. And it was about a little video. It was a couple. And they were talking about how the guy had gone. It was about, I don't know, they were about my age, 50 something, the couple. And they were talking about how he went to the doctor for a checkup, found out he had heart disease or had some heart problems. But that the doctor told him all he had to do was just start listen to this, changing his lifestyle. His eating habits. Started to exercise just a little bit. In other words, what he found out was that all he had to do was change some things in his life and things would get better. And I thought about that today, and this is what this class is all about. Because there's some things in your life, there's some things in your family, there's some things in your mind, there's some habits that you have that all you got to do is start changing them. Getting rid of them. Starting something new. And life will get better. This is how it works. The man has found his why. His reason. His purpose. And unless you find that, guys, it's going to be very hard for you to change. To make your life better. If you have no reason to change. I remember having the attitude of not caring about anything. I think we all can relate to that one, right? And just not caring. And I see so many people, especially the youth, it's hard to break out of that attitude of not caring. I don't give a F the world. This attitude. And there's nothing you can do. That's why I don't deal with anybody like that. I only help people who want to change because I can't change anybody. I can only help you and guide you. The law of pain. The law of pain. He found his why and he started making some changes, the video said, and he got healthier. So let's talk about good management of bad experiences. Let's talk first about good management of bad experiences. So what do you think that means? Anybody want to give it a shot? What does good management of bad experiences mean? What do you think that means? Anybody want to give it a shot? Good management of bad experiences. Go ahead.
How do you react to bad situations that happen in your life?
There you go.
You can react in a positive way and get good results so you can react in a bad way and get bad.
That's right. That's a good one. And I highly recommend you listen to this training today. It's really going to help you.
And then, because sometimes in the past we mess up, like we get ticked off and stuff, and we know that's a bad habit, that's not supposed to be, and we're supposed to have a management to control it, not let it arise, for the bad experiences of un temper or
Como how you react.
yeah, how we react.
That's exactly what it talks about. Management.
The management to know that aquí se siente, what are you gonna do? Because we all like when we're gonna get mad, I guess we have a couple of seconds to feel it if we're gonna get down or not. And some of us just boom explode.
Yep. And give me a rag, please. The law of pain is about all the negative things that have happened to you in your life. Did you know that? So I want you to start thinking about that for a minute. The negative things that have happened to you in your life. How many have had some negative things happen to you in your life? Okay. Listen, this is huge. So let me explain something to you. Because in this room, I talk about the process of change. This is what this room is all about. You can't come to one church service or read one book or come to one class and think that your life is going to change. It does not work that way. It doesn't take just one trip to prison sometimes. It took me 2. It doesn't take, just one. It's a process. You don't get pregnant and have a baby overnight. It doesn't happen. It takes 9 months. It's a process. Life change is a process. Keep that in mind. And what happens is that we start our little life here. Remember, we're talking about the law of pain. And I tell people that here's where you're going to start. And the first thing you need to start on is your mindset. The second thing you have to start on is important is your attitude, right? And the next one is habits. Check this out. So you understand where all this comes in. The law of pain is all about all the negative things that has happened to you in your life. And that's going to happen is going to affect your attitude, right? How you respond to the negative things in your life is going to dictate your attitude. Okay? And your attitude is going to force you to act a certain way, to respond a certain way, to say a certain thing, to act a certain way, right? And it becomes an action. And all those actions become habits. And this is why then you have a lifestyle. Remember? What kind of lifestyle do you have? And what does your lifestyle take you to? Destiny. We call results. So think about where you're at today in life. How did you get here? Let me tell you how. Because of this. And why? Because of your attitude. And why? Because of all the habits that you've created. All because of the bad stuff that happened to you. So now, why am I telling you all this? Here's why I'm telling you. Because a normal person starts here. Check this out. You're going to like this. You're going to like this. You're going to like this. Check this out, brother. A normal person starts here in life. Happy. Don't know where he's going. Let me define a normal person. Let me define a normal person. A normal person is someone that's never been to prison, that doesn't do drugs. That to me is a normal person. Fair enough? Never been to prison. Yeah, I don't either, but to me that's a normal person. When I think about normal, they have their own crazy stuff. I can go on and on with that. But normal, we're going to define normal for today. Someone that's never been to prison and doesn't do drugs. There's a lot of crazy people. That's another thing. But we're going to talk about the normal that I'm talking about today is never been to prison and don't do drugs. So that's them. Look at my sisters. They've never been to prison and they don't do drugs. They're normal people. And they start their little life and they have to create their own little life to get where they want to go. But I don't know where you started. See, I don't know where you started, but let me tell you where I started. See, that's it, right there. See, what I did is I dug a hole. Okay? That's what I did. I dug a hole and I found myself right here. And I wasn't happy. Oh, wrong face. I wasn't happy at all. That's where I found myself. And here's the deal. Check this out. It gets worse. Bueno, poner unas barritas, ¿no? This is where I found myself. And then there was no way to get out. I had to literally make ladders. If there's what? And thank God that I had a will. Where's your will today? See, that's a good one. I like that. See, we know what do you call that? Those phrases, those cliches. We know the cliches. But can you make it happen? Where there's a will, there's a way. Yeah, that's right. So I made some little ladders here, and I got out. To me, this represents 13 years of prison. 10 years of putting needles in my arm. That's what this represents for me. How in the world do you get out of that? This is where so many people that walk into these doors find themselves. They find themselves right here. And this is why you can't go nowhere. Because you're still trying to dig yourself out. Because there's some things you just can't go forward until you go through that. There's just some things you can't do it. Things are going to stop you. Right now, the corona is stopping us, right? That's a good excuse. Why you didn't make it. I got people telling me that. Well, it's good because this corona hit and it's over. Can't find a job, can't do this, can't do that, and it's over. So why? Because they're here. Not only physically, but in their minds. It's hard. The law of pain. You're going through some pain. Some of you are going through some pain now. The setbacks, the mistakes, the pain people caused you, the pain that you caused. It's all about things that you have in your head that you can't let go of. Pain. That's the kind of pain I'm talking about. Pain. And it's pain. And you have to fight. There's no easy way out. Right? The law of pain, these things that happen to you. Some people have this pain since they were a youth because of what happened to them when they were young. Abuse. Pain. Things that are not easy to deal with. Pain. That's what we're talking about today. The law of pain. Now there's some good news. And here's some good news. Thank God that there's some good news. But I gotta give you the bad news first, because that the greatest growth you will have in your life, the reason I can do what I do today, is because of what I went through. I had a choice to make. Do I stay here and just kill my worthless self? That was me. That's who I was. Or do I keep fighting against all odds? against all odds. Didn't that feel like that, Chavarria, sometimes? You're just against all odds. That's why I'm telling you, you're going somewhere, Chavarria. Because I see you, Chavarria, and I say, man, if Chavarria can make it, anybody can make it. No education, bad communication, no one to support you, and yet here you are 2 years later. And they told you they see you back in prison. 3 years. Okay, excuse me. 3 years. Still going strong. Some of the greatest growth that you will in your life will come through bad situations. You've got to go through it. See, the things that will make you stronger, the things that have made you stronger, a strong man of faith, a strong man of God, a strong woman, will be determined by how you manage your most difficult times of your life. Right? See, guys, the thing is, I love talking about this stuff because, man, life is hard. It's full of pain. And the reality is that these hard times are not easy to deal with. They're not easy to go through. And many times, we don't want to go through. We hate the things that have happened to us. And if you're like me, you hate the things that you've done. The pain of regret almost destroyed me. That's why I'm so grateful today. Because it wasn't so much what people did to me. It was what I did to people. And just because of that, see, it was easier for me to forgive you than to forgive myself. The pain of regret. The reason I can speak about these things is because I know where I've been. And I know that I can be a strong tower, a pillar of hope for so many people. Not because of how great I am, but because of how great He is. And many times, we don't want to go through these things. We hate the things that have happened to us, especially if it wasn't your fault, right? So here's the question for the night. As we close and bring this to a close, and this is just half of this, by the way. I'll do the next half next week. Here's some questions. How do we take bad experiences and turn them into great results? How do we do that? Learning from them, that's right. You know, I heard someone once say, you know, a smart man will learn from his mistakes. A wise man will learn from the mistakes of others. That's what I strive to do. I've learned enough from my own mistakes. I don't want to make no more. And now I just want to learn from others. Be reminded, maybe. That could be me. I'd rather look at somebody and say, man, I'm sure, thank you, God, that that's not me no more. Or I want to see somebody and say, man, I want to be like that. And that's what I do. I want to keep growing. I want to keep learning. Here's an interesting thought for you. Do you know that every pain, listen to this one, introduces you to yourself? Think about that for a minute. Every pain forces you to look at yourself. Now, that's not always the case, especially if you blame. There's something about pain and bad circumstances that brings out the best in you or the worst in you. In other words, bad circumstances will show you what you're really made of. And this is where you start growing. This is where you start making the decisions in your life. For most of us, it takes a little more pain than others, right? Some people never learn. Some people make it at 30. Some people wait till they're 40. Some people wait till they're 50, right? But it's possible. But you have to make the decisions. This is why so many people prosper and some people fail. Right? Because they get cornered. You know, who remembers, those of you that have been in prison, who remembers the idea that most people would rather go to prison, right, Chavaria? Because it's easier. It's so much easier. So they just settle. Instead of fighting, they give up. There's many, many people in prison like that. I knew plenty of them. Because it's not worth it in their mind. It's not worth it. They have no purpose. Listen to this one. This is why so many people fall into depression and others fall into beast mode. This is why some people fall into depression and other people fall into beast mode. It's a choice. And you walk out of here either losing or you walk out of here winning. This is what this class is all about. Challenging you. Making you look in the mirror. Because we all have problems, right? How many here have problems? How many here have problems and situations in your life that you rather forget about? Maybe you've done some things that you rather forget about. I'm telling you, I know. We have this ability to tuck away in the back of our mind and we rather forget. And yeah, you can forget it for a while, but it will creep up. Everybody has bad experiences. Everybody. Everybody. I remember the first time that came to a realization for me. The first time somebody told me, hey, you're not the only one with problems. I said, okay, cálmate. I mean, it woke me up. Why? Because I had the plum syndrome. Who remembers what the plum syndrome is? Plum. A lot of people in prison have the plum syndrome. A lot of people out here have the plum syndrome. Want me to tell you what it is? Poor little old me.
I said feel bad.
And it's easy to fall into it. It's easy. Listen, I know that's why so many people are depressed. Because there's so many problems in our society, and if you listen to the news, you're going to get depressed. There's issues, there's problems, there's sicknesses, there's diseases, the corona, your family. Yeah, I mean, it just goes on and on. And it's easy to fall into the plum syndrome. Poor little old me. Why me? And then you have to make a choice. I chose to believe. How many have gone through bad experiences? Everybody, right? Here's an interesting thought about life. Listen to this one. Listen. Some days, you're the pigeon. Some days, you're the pigeon. You'll understand it here in a minute. But some days, you're the statue. Think about that one for a minute. Some days, you're the pigeon, pooping on everybody. But some days you're the statue. That's just how life is. That's just how life is. Right? Some things you just have to go like this. Because life is going to put out a bunch of it. Right? You remember the one you used to put out? That's how life is. Sometimes you're the pigeon, and sometimes you're the statue. So here's a couple of things just to close, to keep in mind, to take home with you. Some takeaways for tonight. We all go through problems. We all have issues. We all have bad experiences, all of us. And we have to learn to deal with them. Because how you manage your bad experiences will make you either stronger or weaker. What you do with our bad experiences, in other words, how you manage our how we manage our bad experiences is what we ultimately become. You know, I know people, I'm telling you, I've spoken to so many people, and all I got to do is listen to them for a while, and I'll get their mindset. Because they start telling me all the reasons why they're the way they are. Because of the parole, because of their mother, because of their father, because of their, you name it. It just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds, and they're trapped in there. They're trapped in these excuses. So how you manage your experiences will ultimately is what will ultimately become who you are. And this is what this law is really all about. Helping you understand that how you deal with your pain is going to either make you or break you. Understanding that how you deal with your life pain, bad experiences, tragedies, pain. Listen, I'm going to close right here. Will ultimately, listen to this one, and my wife knows this one very well, will either make you better or make you bitter. Period. Bad experiences, the pain of life, if you don't manage it well, will either make you better or bitter. And who's met some very bitter people? And I know, and it's very difficult to get out of there. Because it's not right. It's not fair. I didn't ask for this. And they're right. And the second thing I want you to go home with is, no one likes it. No one likes these bad experiences. No one likes to feel pain. In fact, the reason you even do the things you do is because you don't want to feel pain. That's why we do drugs. That's why we drink. That's why we do what we do. That's why we hate. That's why we fight. Anything to numb the pain. See, I remember people used to tell me that. I said, "No, I just like using drugs. I just like getting high. No, it's just that I didn't want to deal with who I was, with my ignorance." I have never met anybody who prays and hopes for bad experiences. I've never heard anybody say, "Man, I'm so excited. I'm going through this mess. Things are going real bad. I lost my job. My wife left me. I got cancer. I'm excited." Never heard nobody say that. But yet, those same bad experiences can take you to the top. if you learn to manage your pain. Isn't that powerful? So let me stop right there. Does anybody have anything to share or say as I pass around my donation bucket? I brought my $1. Listen, you guys don't have to give anything. It's just if you can, Does anybody would like to share something here? Anything like to say something? Anybody on Facebook? You can ask the question. Pain.
You know, I battled with the pain because of serving God, and I would do a lot of mistakes.
Yep.
And stuff, and
The pain of regret.
yeah, and I said, God, I cannot change this. God, why am I this? And to learn right now, I'm seeing the mindset. When I said, you know what, God, and I started applying scripture.
There you go.
And Romans 8:1 says that there's no condemnation, but I used to condemn myself all the time.
I know the feeling.
I keep messing up and getting up. So I started changing. You know what, I'm a child of God. And I found out that the mistakes that I do, they're very least of a things, and like como dice que ya no los hago tanto.
Right.
Yeah, you know, because I know who my God is, and I have made up my mind, and I put in my mind, set up into the process that I'm forgiven, that God loves me, and I can love myself, and I started seeing things differently.
Yeah.
And my attitude, when we just my attitude, and then my habits acting, you know, when the things. And another thing that grabbed me is that I've learned that when the beginning when you're saying about we have to plant seeds and stuff, you know, I learned that some of us we want things quick, you know.
Yeah.
But when we plant a seed and we're waiting for it to grow, and people fall, like you say, they run away or things, but they don't realize that seed is still sprouting. We don't see it come out of the ground, but it takes time. But that seed has sprouted underground, you know, and it's coming to the top, you know. But we just have to be patient
Yep.
and waiting, you know, for God to move, you know, instead of putting them in, oh, they're gonna work out and improvement, you know,
Yep.
like before, you know.
Yeah.
Antes hubiera pasado un problema, hubiera una cerveza o try to.
Well, we don't like dealing with pain.
Yeah.
We don't like dealing with we don't like nobody loves. And that's why so many people fail in life. Because we don't want to deal with it. We'd rather run. Anybody else? What time is it?
2:46.
All right. Well, guys, I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you very much. Next week, I'm going to do the second part of this. There's a lot of great stuff here. It's about what happens when you learn to deal with this pain. Some great results can occur. Great things happening in your life if you learn to deal with them right. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.